All right, you guys. So, a bike that I haven't been hearing a lot about, but that does great numbers and sells year after year after year for Harley Davidson is the Softail Heritage. Now, this bike has been a staple on Harley Davidson's lineup for as long as I've been alive. This is a bike that I don't think they will ever discontinue. It is a very classic, very vintage style motorcycle that has a great look and feel to it. This bike is absolutely amazing for anybody looking to get into kind of an entry level, I would say, touring bike with no added frills, no radio, no distractions. You're getting some saddlebags here for long rides. You are also getting the windshield here, so it can kind of keep some of that wind off your chest when you're on the highway. Makes a long ride a little more pleasant. These 114 Heritage Classics are absolutely amazing. You're getting a bunch of power in this motorcycle. You're getting that iconic look. You're getting that iconic feel from Harley Davidson, which is great. These are classic motorcycles. I love the look of them. A lot of people that I talked to said that these bikes handle absolutely amazingly. I haven't got to ride one, but one of my real good friends has a 2011 Heritage, and he loves this bike. He's put 20,000 miles on it in a short amount of time. Loves riding that motorcycle. It's his absolute favorite. Refuses to trade it or sell it. So I kind of wanted to look at this motorcycle basically because the price point is right at that $20,000 mark, and most of the competition for this motorcycle is aiming to come as close to that number, if not a little bit lower than that number. So I do think this is a great price for this motorcycle. The only thing that I don't really care for on this bike is the single disc front brake. For this being a heavier bike, these are coming in right about 800 pounds on the road. So to me, at this 730 to 800 pound range of a bike with the power of that 114 on it and the weight of a rider, you're going to be pretty close to 1,000 pounds on the road riding, whether you have things in your saddlebags. Figure a 200-pound rider on an 800-pound bike is going to put you at 1,000 pounds. So I would have liked to have seen some better stopping on this bike up front. Now the headlights here look amazing. Looks like we got some LED auxiliary lamps there. So that's nice to see on these bikes. I know Harley hasn't really stepped on board with all of the LED lights at this point. I do know that you are seeing what looks like a halogen bulb in here on the turn signals. It's kind of disappointing on a 2022. You would like to see an LED bulb in there. But I mean, this bike is just gorgeous all the way around. I think this is a beautiful motorcycle. So I like how they have the half tinted windshield on it. I looked at these bikes at the local dealership a couple days ago, and I was actually really impressed with the way that they felt. My buddy who rides a Softail told me that it is the lowest seat height to the ground. I don't know if that's a huge deal because you can always change the suspension on these bikes. I haven't looked into it, but I am almost 100% sure that since this Softail has the new upgraded monoshock from Harley Davidson, that it will be compatible with any of the aftermarket monoshocks that are available right now. From looking at the design myself and seeing the way that the monoshock looks, it is exactly identical to my Lowrider S, and I believe you would be able to put the exact monoshock that I have on here to increase the performance. So honestly, the main reason why I wanted to do this video was because I'm getting a lot of reviews coming in. I'm seeing a lot of information out here about the BMW R18. So I was just looking at it, specifically the R18 Classic. So this bike seems to be the only competition really in the market for the Heritage itself. So I just wanted to kind of go over a couple features. As you can see here, the price on this motorcycle, just the base model. So there's a couple other things I'm going to want to go over with these bikes. So the base model of this R18 is coming in right about 19,000, whereas the base model of the Heritage is coming in at slightly over 20. So they're comparable there. Now, it's a little bit hard for me to compare these bikes as I would like to, because BMW's site is nowhere near as intuitive as the new Harley Davidson website, where you can really get a good look at these bikes, 360-degree rotation, and check all of the features on it. So the BMW R18 is an 1800cc boxer twin engine motorcycle. This is their more classic vintage style motorcycle to appeal to the feel of those who want a more heritage inclusive looking motorcycle. So this is a very heavy motorcycle as well. I don't really believe that this is as great of a touring motorcycle as the Softail Heritage, but I will get into that a little bit later on down the road here. So the engine itself on this motorcycle weighs 250 pounds, which is quite heavy. That being said, the bike itself on the road running is 800 pounds. So it's right in that same category as the Heritage. They advertise 91 horsepower with 116 foot-pounds of torque on this bike. So the one thing that I did like about this motorcycle is that it does come with ride modes. There are 3 specific ride modes for this motorcycle. I guess you have a rain mode, and then they call one the rock mode and one the roll mode. So rock and roll, I guess, is what BMW is going for here. So there's no option for forward controls on the R18. There's no option for any kind of adjustment really in your seating position, since you have these opposed cylinders on this engine. You can see that they stick out really far on this bike. A lot of people have said that the motorcycle is comfortable to ride, but I don't know how comfortable you would be on this motorcycle in the long run. If you come over here and look at the way their feet are on these bikes. Like, this guy's legs are completely spread wide open. His ankles are touching the opposing cylinders here. This guy, same thing. He's got his legs a little closer where he's touching the tank, but his ankle is up on that engine. There ain't no way that that is going to be a comfortable ride if you're putting down 400 to 1,000 miles on a motorcycle. I don't care who you are, that's not going to be comfortable. So another thing that I've been hearing a lot about these bikes, I haven't got to test ride one of these bikes, and I'll be honest with you, I will not test ride one of these bikes, specifically because I don't like the design of it at all. I don't like anything about this bike. A couple things that were appealing to me was it does have dual disc front brakes, which I think is great. For a bike this size, like I said, with the Harley Davidson Heritage, I think that they should come with dual disc front brakes, so I'll give BMW a point there, but I got to take away from them on this lean angle of the windshield. It makes the whole front end look off angle to me. That might just be kind of personal judgment here for me, but just by the looks of it, I don't really like that at all. It flows with the angle of the front forks, but to me it kind of looks skewed. I don't know if I really like it. So also, when we look at this motorcycle, you could see it does have dual exhaust. Now this pipe on this side I like. So I like the exhaust that is on this R18 Classic. I do like the exhaust that they went with on this. The original R18 that they came out with, the exhaust looks like a dead fish. I can't get behind it at all. It's flared out. It's huge. It looks like a fish. It's not very appealing to the eye. Now, another thing about these motorcycles is this 1800cc engine. Everybody is praising it because it is an iconic BMW style boxer engine. It gives people a good feeling that are into these European style bikes. They want to be on it because it looks cool. But every single person that I've seen a review on the R18 has talked about how rough the bike actually rides. When you come to a stop, you can see the bars physically shaking because those opposed heads, the cylinders, are moving at different times. So you'll have weight going to the right, then weight going to the left, and it kind of shakes the bike. And they showed while they were actually riding the motorcycle on the highway, if they would take their hands off the bars would lean either to the left or to the right and kind of pull you in one or the other direction. I don't know if I like that at all. It would not make me feel comfortable being on that motorcycle. Now, price-wise, this does come in slightly under the Heritage, but I just can't get over the look of it. It looks like a jet engine. Like, there's no character really to this bike. Personally, for me, I'm a very nostalgic Harley Davidson person. I like the V-twin. I like being able to see the V-twin. Just the looks and the aesthetics of it. Even with the M8, you still have that V-twin styling. So the only things really changing are your heads and your rocker covers. Other than that, you still get the same look and feel of the motorcycle. You're just getting an upgraded performance. So back to the Heritage. Some of the things I really like about this motorcycle here, I didn't like about the R18. So I do like that the exhaust is all on one side and it's dual exhaust. Another thing that I like is that the saddlebags are the same size. Even though you do have the dual exhaust on the one side, they kept the saddlebags the same for you. So I do really like that. I love the way this bike looks. I love the way that they chose these new colors and they did the two-tone on the tank. So getting into it, they do have a Batwing fairing style motorcycle for the R18. I kind of showed a picture of that earlier. This one here. So this is their transcontinental version. So you're getting kind of different bags here. You're getting a solid hard bag. This is more of a direct touring bike. They gave you this weird kind of imitation Harley Davidson Batwing fairing. So it looks like everybody on the market is chopping at Harley right now. Whether it's BMW with this R18 with this kind of European Batwing fairing, if you're into that kind of stuff. You got Indian coming out with this Challenger, and the fairing is almost rivaling that of the Road Glide. Indian's other lineup of motorcycles with their Batwing fairing. So all these motorcycle companies are directly coming out with motorcycles to compete with Harley. They're trying to attack the looks and the styling of them, but they're falling short by leaps and bounds. So I think this Transcontinental was kind of trying to compare to a Street Glide, and I think that this R18 Classic was kind of going after the Harley Heritage. They're trying to get their numbers up, go after their sales. I did like the blacked out engine on the Transcontinental, but I still don't like the way that you are forced to ride in one position. You can't really do anything about that with these bikes. Now, another thing that I heard here is that they only have a 4-gallon gas tank on this bike. So even the R18 Classic is supposed to be a touring design, touring esque bike. They're leaning towards that touring platform with BMW. I don't understand why you would go with a 4-gallon gas tank. Harley is staying with the 5-gallon gas tank because they want to give you a true touring capability out of most of their bikes. And the funny thing is, this bike isn't even considered a touring bike by Harley Davidson. This bike is considered a cruiser. The 2022 Heritage is in the cruiser category. So, I mean, it does a lot for Harley. It says a lot for their design and where they're going, that even a bike with all these features that would make it a great transcontinental touring bike. I mean, on this Heritage, you're getting the comfortable bars. They're back far enough. You're getting a 2-up seat. You're getting your passenger pegs. You're getting hard bags. You're getting the windshield. You're getting a 5-gallon gas tank. So Harley really does set up a lot of their motorcycles for the long distance rider. This seat looks extremely comfortable on the Heritage compared to the one on the R18. If you look at that, how thin it is up front, I would not want to be on that bike for longer than 2 to 3 hours just looking at that design. I mean, Harley really caters for their long distance riding, and the seats on Harley Davidson's factory bikes aren't even that great. You might want to upgrade them. I always do. But this is light years ahead of the BMW seat. So, I mean, maybe for an in-town cruiser, if you want to go pick up a gallon of milk for your husband, that would be all right with these saddlebags here. If your wife wants you to run to the store and pick her up some female necessities, you could fit those in here and that seat would be perfect for you. But if you want to go to Sturgis and you live in Massachusetts and you want to ride there, I think the Heritage would be a lot better of a setup for you. Another thing that I wanted to touch on between these two bikes is the R18 is a lower compression engine. It is producing 91 horsepower at 116 foot-pounds of torque. The Heritage is coming in at 119 foot-pounds of torque and 94 horsepower with the stock engine setup. That's not doing anything else to that bike, not tuning it, not adding anything to it. So you got 3 horsepower at the wheels above the BMW, and you also have 3 foot-pounds of torque above the BMW. And it's only $1,000 more for this bike. And I mean, look at it. There's no comparing these two bikes. I mean, that R18 to me looks like a toy. It doesn't look quality. I couldn't even compare these two together because I feel like they are not even in the same class. I do wish Harley would start doing dual disc front brakes on every one of their motorcycles, especially once we start pushing these power numbers here. So I would really like to see if there's going to be a dual disc front brake on the Sportster that they're going to be releasing here mid-year. That bike's probably going to be like a 935 or a 975 engine. It's going to be the same style engine as that Sportster S. It's probably going to replace the 883. It's going to be extremely powerful. Please put 2 front disc brakes on it. So also another thing that I would have to say here going forward is I'm covered in Harley Davidson clothing and tattoos. So don't take my advice for it. Get out here and test ride these bikes. Like I said, I've been seeing a lot of reviews on these R18s and people are praising them and saying how great they are and how they run and how they look. But man, I think everybody's sleeping on the Heritage. I think that the Heritage took a back seat this year to the new models that Harley released. But I think that this bike right here is 100% day and night, light years ahead of the BMW motorcycle. So take it for what it is. I just wanted to kind of get on here and touch on these bikes a little bit. I really do love this blue color on the Heritage. I think this is a gorgeous color. All the lines of this bike, it's just a beautiful bike. I love it. So this red is even even better. So you kind of get this dual paint, two-tone, red line red, vivid black on this bike too. So I don't know. You guys will have to make the decision for yourself. But I think that when it comes to the classic motorcycle lineup, I think that there is no other option than Harley Davidson. Even their new bikes with the new designs and the new engines still always tilt their hat back to the original Harley Davidson motorcycle lineup. Even Indian, I don't think does a good job at coming close to traditional inspired looking motorcycles other than their fenders. Indian has a real good job of making them big flowing skirt-like fenders that they had on the old original Indians. But when it comes down to it, the Harley Davidson is the most iconic motorcycle out there right now. The looks of it, the sound of it, the following that Harley Davidson has, it's going to rival anything on the market. I don't know, you guys. Let me know down below how you feel about the R18, how you feel about the R18 Classic compared to the Harley Davidson Heritage. And let me know how you feel about the R18 Transcontinental compared to the Harley Street Glide. So, all right, guys, just want to thank you again for tuning in. Just wanted to get this quick video out here because I had a couple opinions on that R18. And I just wanted to do a kind of comparison here and look at what you're getting for the money and compare the weights and the numbers a little bit for you. All right, thank you guys. Have a great day.